It's easy to get overwhelmed by the sheer quantity of watercolour pigments on the market, and with the price that they are, you want to buy ones that will make a great addition to your palette. This is my first video where I will choose, buy and paint with a new pigment to me and give it the opportunity to show its qualities to us all. So the package arrived and here is the reveal. This particular manufacturer doesn't have a sale that often, so I was very tempted to browse and choose a small tube of one of their lovely pigments to trial. Here is Aussie Red Gold by Daniel Smith. On their website, each pigment has a great description which gives inspiration for subjects to paint with that particular colour. The transparency, non-granulation and low staining qualities are all really useful when it comes to painting in watercolour. I'm already excited to try this pigment as I can visualise my own subjects. Before we start, it's really helpful to understand exactly what the pigment is. Every tube of paint should give you a pigment code from a pigment colour index. So for example, PY stands for pigment yellow, and 83 is a diary-lyed yellow. PR, pigment red, 101 is a synthetic red iron oxide, and PV is pigment violet, and 19 stands for a synthetic pigment belonging to the quinacridone family. So with all this information, we actually know that Aussie Red has a mixture of 3 pigments. So just to give you an example of a single pigment tube, here is ultramarine blue. The Universal Colour Index code PB29 stands for pigment blue and the 29 is ultramarine blue. It only contains 1 pigment. So to start with, let's introduce Aussie Red Gold to the colours in my palette. So this one's ultramarine blue, and as you can see, as we put them together, they mix quite spontaneously and quite well. So now we'll try transparent red. It doesn't have quite the same mixing ability as the blue. But if we add a little bit more water and it does mix and we get a lovely orangey red. And now let's just add water to the Aussie Red Gold and see how it moves, and you'll see that it goes from a lovely deep wash down into a lovely pale yellow, so that's really nice. So now we've got, shows the granulation that's coming from the blue, I think, and the red, see that hard line, so you see it's not quite mixing quite so well, and there's that lovely graduation in the pigment on its own. Right, so let's get on with some painting. So I'm taking some burnt sienna here and painting little dots in a semicircle shape. Quite a concentrated pigment here on my brush, because in a minute we're going to put some water on the brush and then allow that paint on the paper to flow into that water. So there's quite a bit of water on the brush there. And now wash the brush clean, and now we're going to use the Aussie Red Gold, picking up quite concentrated pigment again and adding more dots around the edge of the burnt sienna. Now water onto the brush, and a bit like we did with the test piece, is now allow that pigment to flow down into the water. It's picking up a bit of the burnt sienna as well, which is where we're going to get the granulation from. So we can see that with the speckledy bits on the paper. And keep going around, picking up those dots of pigment. And this is loosely based on a coneflower, this little painting. But we can see that pigment moving beautifully down into the water. We're not having to help it really, it's moving down on its own. And let's sort of curve the tips of those petals. Now I'm adding a little bit more burnt sienna into the centre. And the more I do this, the greater the chance of that pigment flowing down into the yellow. So now I'm increasing the height of that centre. A few more dots of burnt sienna. And now I'm going to increase the intensity of that centre flower by adding more burnt sienna, and we'll see it again start to draw down into those petals. And it's looking a little bit uneven, so what I might do with that is to pick up some of that burnt sienna with a dry brush. Let's see what happens if we do that. So dry brush and lift that pigment. And that's quite nice because it looks like there's a bit of a crease or a line down the centre of the petal, so that's quite nice. So now let's paint in a stem. I'm doing sort of tram lines here. Give me 2 straight lines and then add some water to the centre. And the leaves are quite pointed, quite long and pointed, so I'm just using very simple flicks of the brush here to create those leaf shapes. And now back into the centre of the flower with some darker pigment. And all the time I'm painting, I'm actually thinking, okay, what can I do with this next? So I've actually decided to paint a little bit of a background and use the yellow for a bee. So I'm going to show you the finished result. I can also do another sort of demo with the bee at another time. But of course this is exploring with the paint, seeing what we can do with it. So here's the bee. And yes, it works quite well. It does work well for the subject. A little bit of a close-up here. So yeah, I can see lots of potential for this pigment. Here are a few ideas. I can envisage sunflowers, daisies, coneflowers, marigolds, bees, sunsets, corn and sand, just to name a few. So if you do buy this pigment and have a go, please do let me know how you get on. I'd love to see. Thanks for watching.